Good evening, V, and how are you all doing tonight? I'm your host, John, joined here by Duke.
Glad to be here tonight, John.
And we've got an absolutely killer lineup of contenders this year.
Hopefully this year will be more exciting than last.
All the teams here have practiced all year at being the absolute best or worst, and sometimes both, that they could possibly be.
Hey, John, have you ever wondered why there's so many games competing in both good and bad categories?
Well, gee, I don't know, Duke. It could be because V's fucking retarded. And I don't know why we host these for V. Typically, you gotta be 18 or older to vote.
You heard the man, Zoomers. This show isn't for you.
Let's jump into the action now and start our first match.
Virgin Award for Best New IP. Kingdom Come Deliverance. Return of the Obra Dinn. Octopath Traveler. Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon. Kingdom Come Deliverance versus Octopath Traveler. Octopath Traveler. You know why they call it Octopath, right? Games with multiple protagonists is nothing new, but multiple routes for each one is definitely a concept that, at the very least, has been explored to a much smaller extent. From day one, development of Octopath Traveler was decided to be a collaborative effort between the developers and the feedback they've received from fans regarding the title. Utilizing an art style that's both old and new at the same time, the title stands out amongst the competition, lending this 2D HD, trademarked by Square by the way, aesthetic with symphonic and lighthearted music. You get a feeling of wonder and inspiration from the stories that unravel as the game goes on. With a variety of playstyles between the characters and unique traits that make each experience stand out from the others, Octopath breathes new life into an otherwise uninspired genre. With the success it found, Square Enix might have the confidence to return once more to mid-range budget titles, instead of dumping a hefty $200 mil and 10 years on every title they shit out. IP Twist Award for Best Implementation of an Old Franchise. Hopefully this year will be more exciting than last. Dragon Ball FighterZ. Tetris Effect. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Monster Hunter World. Dragon Ball FighterZ versus Monster Hunter World.
Do it! Out of my sight! Let me be! Don't underestimate the
Monster Hunter World. While off-putting at first for many of the original fans, World found success in both mainstream and niche audiences alike, with minimal holdouts upset over what had come in the title. While the segmented maps offered some gameplay mechanics in the past, open world is a move that just makes sense for the types of games the Monster Hunter series is. And with the quality of life changes made as well as implementing the environment itself into the combat mechanics, the series has shown new potential for what could possibly come under this new direction. Who would have known that once you dumb down the mechanics and interface that it would suddenly become a hit in the West? Really, really makes you think.
VGA Premiere.
Here comes another Chinese earthquake.
But they'll patch it award for worst fanbase. Get hyped, it's quarterfinals time. Fortnite Battle Royale. Bethesda. Fallout 76. V. Fortnite Battle Royale versus Fallout 76.
If you're not subscribed, please like. And yeah, I think there's some good clips from just playing squad skill and stuff.
Fortnite Battle Royale wins.
In 1996, Koshun Takami finished the original controversial novel of Battle Royale. It didn't get published until 1999 due to fears of influencing others' personalities, especially impressionable youth. The movie adaptation released in 2000, and concerns exploded as even government officials began to worry about a rubbish film, quote-unquote, turning murder into a game. Almost 20 years later, they were right. That's right, it's the dance sensation that's sweeping the nation. Epic Games' Fortnite Battle Royale throws away literally everything they'd been planning for years prior to shoehorn in a game mode that would crush the competition and aim to achieve the epic victory royale. Soon, almost everyone on YouTube and Twitch was playing the game, whether child or man-child, and it seems like the Fortnite craze just won't die. Gone are those 7th gen days with all kinds of fan bases spread across numerous titles. No more do kids come home and choose between playing some Griftball on Halo or Zombies on COD. There's one game, and one game only, Fortnite. Guilty Pleasure Award for the game I like but V hates.
Street Fighter V Arcade Edition. Mario Tennis Aces. Dusk. Pokemon, Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Mario Tennis Aces versus Dusk.
Dusk.
Dusk chose to follow recent trends of games such as Ion Maiden and Project Warlock to make a modern FPS in the same style as the classics. Proudly siphoning dozens of ideas from the classics, but overall looking to improve upon none, the gameplay is as fun as any other game, but whether it'll have the lasting power of something like Doom, Duke, or Shadow Warrior is left to be seen. Regardless, the game still gives you an exhilarating experience, letting players run through the gritty killing fields, and it resonated with audiences enough to gain a respectable, if modest, following. Where some call it a soulless attempt to bank on nostalgia, others are just as quick to call it an homage, appreciating the attempt and excited to see what's to come. Regardless, I doubt many would call it a bad game, perhaps just express disappointment as to what it could have been. However, history is written by the victors, or in the case of old FPS games, the modders. Time will tell exactly how Dusk will be remembered, but for now, let's appreciate the little guys who made this game top this list. NIER Award for Best Writing or Story. Return of the Obra Dinn. God of War.
Ashes. That was our last wish.
Where must we go?
Red Dead Redemption 2.
We don't want to kill any of you, but trust me, we will.
Deltarune. Return of the Obra Dinn versus Red Dead Redemption 2.
Come on before she kicks off. Here, let me help you.
Sure, we can have fire. And we can have the knowledge of fire.
Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 1's original story gave us the tale of John Marston, telling the tale of how his previous misdeeds followed him and haunted his life in the far future. Throughout the game, however, you only ever get hints of what exactly went down in those fateful days. The series' long-awaited third entry aimed to finally shed the light on what Marston's crew did to earn the wrath of the government. Arthur Morgan, Dutch van der Linde, and their crew pulled some of the most notorious heists in Rockstar's devised Western world. And Red Dead 2 structured the narrative to give you the feeling Arthur had as everything spirals out of his control, and he goes too deep to ever escape. While many of the plot devices are nothing special to a Western tale, Rockstar's meticulous attention to detail with a fine-toothed comb ensures that nothing ever feels too cheesy or played out, crafting a deep tale that truly immerses the player in Arthur's boots, and finally gives the perspective on what haunted John so well into the future. Big BRAN Award for Worst Writing or Story.
Hey guys, before we announce this next award, just make sure you've been tweeting, spreading this whole show around on social media. It's very important, and I was told to read that.
Life is Strange 2.
It's okay to think about it. I do it too.
Fallout 76. Battlefield 5.
Well,
Down
look
Freeman.
who we got here, boys. A Black Ops and a Marine. Hoorah. Let me introduce myself, son.
Fallout 76 versus Battlefield 5.
I found a couple of surviving kids from the high school whose parents didn't make it.
Können Sie es eben im Gegensatz zu fahren nicht leisten, jeden Mist auszusprechen, der in den Sinn kommt, Schröder.
Ja, Kommandant.
Fallout 76. I'm not quite sure if you guys know what worst writing means. At this point, I feel it's synonymous for you guys with least writing. But here we are again with a game not too different from 2016's No Man's Sky in terms of writing. A game that won this category as well. Except this one doesn't even have NPCs for us to complain about like that game did. I suppose for an open world sandbox without any non-player characters, it actually has a lot more than you'd expect. The problem is that the writing is as dead as the characters that left those audio logs behind in the first place. There's several letters to and from people who are dead, but with no survivors to relay the information to, what's the point of having it? It's like having records of Ozymandias all over the place, and just like in the poem, nothing but decay remains.
I am no more positive in case that those individuals of whom have participated in this vote are aware of the interpretation of the term inferior calligraphy. I am incipient that those responsible believe it is compatible with nadir calligraphy, and yet attendant we abide, holding a
Peggy 18.
Can you get that? It's probably that salesman. He comes for you every day.
Good morning! Vaultec calling.
Whatever you're selling, I'm not buying.
Oh, no worries, sir. No worries at all. I'm not selling anything. Not today. You can't begin to know how happy I am to finally speak with you. I've been trying for days. It's a matter of utmost urgency, I assure you.
Maybe I don't want to talk to you.
Oh, you do. Now, I know you're a busy fellow, so I won't take up much of your time. Time being a precious commodity. I'm here today to tell you that because of your family service to our country, you have been pre-selected for entrance into the local vault. Vault 111.
Go away.
Won't take but a moment. We do need to verify some information to make sure you're cleared for entrance in the unforeseen event of total atomic annihilation.
Come back some other time.
Come on, hon. It's just a little paperwork. Let him fill it out, and it's done.
I said no.
And I'm saying yes. So there.
Splendid. Splendid. Let's get to it.
Kuraku. SIPP. Oishii. The SIPP Boy Award for the best gaming beverage. Here come our finalists. Bleach. Monster Ultra Zero. Coffee. Water. Monster Ultra Zero versus Water.
Starting. Now remove the oil tank cap and dipstick if applicable, and use a cloth to wipe the dipstick clean. Experienced here.
And that's it, because Kyung La, our reporter there, was saying that she thought it was 4 to 5 minutes. Was that your sense as well?
Water wins.
Water, the birthplace of life, the compound responsible for our existence. It can give, providing us with food and quenching our thirst. It can take away in destructive tsunamis or torrential rains. But most important, it's the most boring fucking thing you people could have chosen. Water has had a long history in the hearts of gamers everywhere. Something about its tastelessness and cooling potential brings people together, I guess. It strengthens us to achieve the impossible. It allows us to function at all. It's at least 60% of us. We are water. We're human. We are the winners of this award. And yet, we're also the scourge of every gamer fuel thread. Be proud of who you are. Hold your head high. Yes, you are that sad, sad individual who has to compare themselves to a plant and rain on the parade of those who like to have a little fun in their lives. So thank you, water. You will forever be remembered as the drink that can only be described as definitely a drink. Paul Allen Award for Best Developer.
Masahiro Sakurai. CD Projekt Red. Sega. Nintendo. Masahiro Sakurai versus Nintendo.
Characters that we have in the game, and I just thought it was something that would be really interesting, and I immediately came up with, the image of Snake. With
2% of the U.S. population was playing games, and then now jump to last October.
Masahiro Sakurai.
From successfully helming one of the Big N's biggest franchises to directing bangers like Kid Icarus Uprising, Sakurai has continued to prove himself time and time again as one of the best developers in the industry, and the latest Smash has once more continued this trend. His mysterious mindset has puzzled fans and sparked discussion across the web as he continues to add and strip away various features to the hot pot of a series he makes. One day, he'll pop up in a random photo with a big-name dev. The next, someone entirely unrelated is confirmed for Smash. The man's a Japanese Ryan Johnson of video games. Putting aside maddening decisions he makes regarding the roster, you can't help but respect a man who will literally work himself to death if it means his fans are satisfied. He did retire about 3 Smashes ago, after all. And yet, even with such rigorous work ethic, Sakurai will scour entire console libraries to find any reference or fan service he can to please his players. Sakurai may look young, but the man's a seasoned veteran of the industry with a passion for making things right. It's been over a decade since Brawl V. I think it's time to let it go and forgive him.
VGA Premiere. CS GRAD Award for Worst Developer.
This next award's pretty special because it's one of the awards that we weren't bribed to rig.
Bethesda.
What's they spell? Loads of money, probably.
Electronic Arts.
All you care about is money. This town deserves a better class of criminal.
Blizzard.
Just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
Todd Howard. Todd Howard versus Todd Howard.
Just works.
These
NPCs are not scripted. You can walk all the way to the top of that mountain. Go where you want, do whatever you want. This is the golden age of gaming. Make the
Have you ever made it past a single YouTube tutorial on animation principles? Do you think it's acceptable to go until 2011 without giving your players a jumping animation? Is your creative output best summarized by a sarcastic Fleetwood Mac song? Holy shit, what a boomer fucking reference. You guys call me old. Congratulations! You may be just what they're looking for down at Bethesda Softworks. Bethesda's good old-fashioned quality has become such a recognizable meme at this point. It's essentially a staple of their image, ingrained in their own brand itself. Horses spinning faster than a Beyblade? Classic Bethesda. Radiant conversations as realistic as a Tommy Wiseau script? Guess who? A modding system that functions about as well as a rocket made from duct tape and drunken ingenuity? You guessed it, the Big B. Overall, Bethesda likes to drag Todd out on stage whenever they want to try and seem fun and friendly. But with everything that's gone on recently, it's worth remembering that no matter how charming Todd Howard may be, there's always a Pete Hines lurking in the shadows.
I thought she cared for me.
What did she do or say that gave you that impression?
It's the way she talked to me. Smiled.
2B Award for Best Character. Hopefully this year will be more exciting than last. Mithra.
Mithra! Huh?
What are you doing?
Preparing the meme.
King K. Rool. Arthur Morgan.
Loved me, I threw that away. My mama died when I was a kid. And my daddy.
Kazuma Kiryu.
おやっさんが危ないと思い体を張って助けようと思った
Kazuma Kiryu versus King K. Rool.
To me.
Kazuma Kiryu. Kiryu Kazuma, the dragon of Dojima. The man is a father, a lover, a friend, and a brother. But most importantly, Kiryu may be the most iconic gangster that anyone has ever laid eyes on. Stylish, slick, and with a heart of gold. The man works his way up the ladder while vowing to never take a life. He's a beast who wouldn't hesitate to punch a fucking tiger in the throat. He's a father who cares for his daughter and her son with all his heart. Kiryu is the man we all strive to be and be with. The ideal dad bod. You may not like it, but that's what peak performance looks like. Authentic Japanese flesh, folded over 1,000 times. Kiryu Kazuma is a little of everything, including the best character.
PEEBEE Award for Worst Character.
Incineroar. Cassandra. Sylvanas Windrunner. Marcus. Cassandra versus Sylvanas Windrunner.
Is this proof enough of his death?
Need fear nothing. But Derek Proudmore didn't flee to Kultiris by himself.
Sylvanas Windrunner. Sylvanas Windrunner's character evolution is quite the spectacle. 15 years of tragic character development and deep motivations in the mind of a sinister general capable of planning some of the most heinous acts of indecency in war. Then tossed out for 3 years' worth of good old female empowerment. The Banshee Queen was once a background plotter who worked her way around the eyes of those who held her back in order to maneuver herself into a position favorable to her people. Now she's been uplifted into the war chief of the Horde that she's historically cared little for. Kind of. She still puts her people, the undead citizens of Lordaeron, above the other races. Except when she doesn't. Look, Sylvanas' character development could go either way. It wouldn't be crazy to say she's a maniac who wants nothing more than to blight the world and ensure her people's survival. At the same time, it's not impossible that she could have a change of heart and learn what the Horde symbolizes in Warcraft. But Blizzard just doesn't seem to fucking know what they want to do with her, and they give off some of the most whack mixed messages I've ever seen. And unfortunately, being a hot, undead elven dominatrix means she can get away with just about anything because of the inevitable legion of fanboys she's got. Thankfully, even the fan base seems to be waking up to her, and when your player base is autistic enough to actually protest her in-game so much that you've got to give them the opportunity to betray her, it should be a sign that maybe you've gone just a bit off the deep end with this character.
Dude, stop negging. Don't neg. No one likes a negger. Dude, that sounded, you know what?
Who Cares Award for Most Pointless Controversy in Gaming this year.
Let's see what we've got. Mr. Game & Watch's Feather. Kingdom Come's lack of diversity.
The most historically accurate game about rural 15th century Bohemia this year.
Cyberpunk 2077's Daylight. The Grinch League in Super Smash Bros. Kingdom Come's lack of diversity versus Cyberpunk 2077's Daylight.
Years now from game journalists and social justice warriors claiming that the game is not only historically inaccurate but outright
Yeah, I wanted to talk about light sensitivity and just quickly, I used to suffer from
Cyberpunk 2077's Daylight.
Can believe it, V? There's daylight in Cyberpunk 2077! I can't believe Cyberpunk is fucking dead! The sun was supposed to stop working in 2024! None of this should be happening, bros! Nah, just kidding ya. I'm not a fucking retard. In truth, the whole daylight controversy was probably the dumbest thing to ignite the internet in a very long time. Even something as stupid as Spider-Man's puddles vanishing can be seen as a graphical downgrade from bullshotted promotional footage, but this? Literally all we had was a trailer and some half-a-decade-old promotional artwork. There was nothing to compare it to. Hell, it's daylight. No matter how much you fight it, unless you're in Siberia, half the day is daylight. I mean, day's in the fucking name. I'm sure CD Projekt didn't expect to cause such a shitstorm once they unleashed the power of the sun, but when even V is calling a controversy pointless, you know you're really, really reaching.
Make It Stop Award for Worst Ongoing Game. Let's see what we've got. Fortnite Battle Royale. League of Legends.
I'll get her. Locked in. Oh, it's in my sight. Bitch!
Overwatch.
Shut up! Can I please go soldier? I'm going fucking on soldier. All I want to do is go.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Overwatch versus Fortnite Battle Royale.
I'll be Tracer.
I'm already Tracer.
What about Widowmaker?
I'm already Widowmaker.
I'll be Bastion.
Nerf Bastion.
You're Renzo.
Overwatch. Overwatch threw its hat into the ring a few years ago and tried to play with the big boys of the arena FPS genre, but unfortunately Blizzard just doesn't have a damn clue on how to keep the game interesting. Whereas TF2 had a few years of gameplay updates before it switched into cosmetic maintenance mode, Overwatch left the gate with that ideology in mind, and didn't even have custom maps and game modes to fall back on. But at least the community loved it enough to develop an entire scene, right? Wrong again. Almost nobody cares about the esports scene. It's just being artificially pushed onto the players by Blizzard, desperately trying to gain some attention. And worst yet, the disasters don't stop with stuff inside the game. It's one thing to punish mic spammers or griefers, but a player who taunted the enemies too many times? A pro who said a mean word on Twitch? Some kids whose university abbreviates to FU? Will anyone cull Blizzard's unending desire to chastise every tiny thing their player base does that they disagree with? It's obvious the game's development team cares more for policing the community's attitude more than providing engaging updates beyond a new map or hero. And at this point, one has to stop and wonder if maybe Lawbreakers really was the better game. Ouch. No, just kidding, they both suck dick.
I fucking love Star Wars!
What the fuck? This is epic. Why? Just why? Jesus Christ.
Soy milk brings all the pasta, yeah, and then like...
Oh, manlet, gross.
Royale.
No, please no. Oh god. Oh no. Oh.
Best game nobody played.
Warhammer, Vermintide 2. Frostpunk. Taiko no Tatsujin, Drum and Fun. Kirby Star Allies. Warhammer, Vermintide 2. Versus Taiko no Tatsujin, Drum and Fun. Taiko no Tatsujin, Drum and Fun.
Come on, shake your body, baby, do the conga. I know you can't control yourself any longer. Feel the rhythm of the music getting stronger. Don't you fight it till you try to do that conga beat. Yeah. Taiko's been a long-running series that used to be loved by V, so how it ended up in this category is a mystery to me. But regardless, the latest entry is probably the most refined yet, with its casual appeal but its batshit insane skill ceiling on the highest difficulty. With the intended arcade playstyle as well, the Switch's control scheme actually works the gimmick in its favor, a rarity among Nintendo's systems. With a mixed track list of video game music, classic and pop songs, the music we got after localizing certainly beats the shit out of what we got back on the PS2. With any luck, this one will find some success and inspire a few more obscure rhythm games to come stateside as well. Seal of Quality Award for Biggest Technical Blunder. I'm not sure there's a clear winner in any of these.
Hunt down
Is there anyone else with you?
Negative. It's just me. What the hell is going on?
Battlefield 5. Radical Heights. Fallout 76. Versus Fallout 76.
The aliens are coming! We've been compromised!
Spit it out, Corporal!
Oh, Colonel. We are so fucked.
Everybody take...
Play the game, except every time I've tried to play it so far, it says world found and then disconnected from server. Oh, look, there it is! Right for you guys!
Fallout 76.
I read on the internet that our games have had a few bugs.
Despite being Bethesda's most ambitious Skyrim yet, 76 fell flat on its face in just about every way possible, from the buggy enemy behavior to the ineptitude of their design choices to the limitations of the engine itself. Bethesda's unoptimized plate of spaghetti that they call netcode has resulted in an easily exploitable title filled with connection errors that allows its players to easily exploit its PvP and glitch their way into developer areas with ease. Now, games with technical faults are nothing new, but couple that with the lack of innovation and absence of creativity, and Todd's managed to put the soul into Solus once and for all. Despite only being out 3 months, this title has become such a disaster for the company that retailers are literally begging players to take their stock off their shelves, and sometimes just giving it away. We'd tell you to uninstall it if you could, but That option may literally be unavailable after the last 50 gig update. Wouldn't surprise me.
VGA Premiere.
Pixels are Art Award for the most pretentious indie game. Blah blah blah, quarterfinals, you get the idea by now. The Quiet Man. Celeste. The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. We Happy Few. Celeste versus We Happy Few.
Liver oil Sally wanted. This is the cleanest office I've ever seen. Where does he hide his junk? I wonder if he has a secret lair.
We Happy Few wins.
I bet you completely forgot this game even came out, much less existed. It's a shame, really, because it sounded pretty cool when it was announced, giving off the illusion of some sort of combination of 1984 and A Clockwork Orange. What resulted, however, was much, much more bland and shallow. Playing out like a mundane walking simulator, the message of thinking for yourself is entirely lost on the audience when it's as simplistic and directed as the developers intended. Compulsion Games' biggest crime is thinking they had the writing chops and development experience to tackle messages and ideologies as deep and complex as this. Take one message away from this game, and, like drugs, just say no.
NEWGROUNDS Award for Best Flash Game of All Time. The nominees are Robot Unicorn Attack, finding Eliza. Madness Interactive.
What do I
Leave the
choose? You look nice, I have a boner in my pants, or I'm the sensitive guy. I'll take the you look nice one. Oh my god, she moaned at me! Ah! I am so in.
Have to get his penis erect.
Super deep
So what you're gonna
throat.
do is just suck his dick, just like you said you were gonna do.
And the winner is Super Deep Throat.
This was a tough competition. Each of these games are truly amazing and show off how Flash gave even the average person the ability to design some absolutely fantastic games. But in true Flash game fashion, what sticks with the user in their hearts and memories the most is what they were able to beat their meat to. Enter Super Deep Throat. A treasured game by many, Super Deep Throat is a sacred gem of human ingenuity and a step forward in the overall progress towards a utopia of getting your dick sucked by Chun-Li. Only she's dressed and accessorized to your liking. And she has a dick. I truly believe this game won not because it's so much better than all the others. The other games are just as fondly remembered, only this one came with the added benefit of draining your load in the process. Konashian is long since disappeared with a wild swarm of all sorts of rumors, but regardless of where he is truly gone, at the very least the extensive fan base has picked apart and customized this game so much beyond its original capabilities that its modding scene is diverse and still going strong. Countless models, countless positions, and countless lives lost to a sea of shame. The enduring legacy of Super Deep Throat has ensured development will never truly be ended, and neither will my sessions with it.
are enchanted. Wearing them will allow you to meditate on music in order to grow closer to Saradoma.
Rappers fucking with me, but they just aren't on my caliber. I pull up and rush you with the G-Mall and the Ballister. You go back to Lumbridge, you can't see me, I'm in Falador. This flow is Juice 6, man, have you heard of the massacre? Maxed on my skills, it's $99.99, 3 easy payments. Rush cause I ain't got no patience, hospital filled with my patients. I ain't no doctor, I hit so high it'll shock ya. Kill them, they fuck with my chakra. It's like you fighting a Zora. You get no loot, dog, whoa, 2 shots when I shoot. Arrows or bolts, I ain't fucking with lead. 3 bitches giving me head. It's KBD in my bed. Glory charged up like a Duracell. Catch me in Edgeville, I'm smoking with Duradel. 99 herb in my pots, put your pure in hell. Pull up to camel, I strap with my scimitar. Skull on my head, dragon blade and I kill her. Sipping on Bruce by your cape and I'm still in charge. A one-hitter god, I cast a barrage. You fucker with God in my Zamorak bars. A recipe for a disaster. I take the fog because I am the master. 99 pray you can call me the pastor. 99 made you can call me the caster. Max out agility, know that I'm faster. A DDS feckin' a 30 or 40. A crack on my whip with the sword one before she declined on my trace. Boy, this girl ain't no shorty. She more like a middle-aged man in his 40s. My HYPERBOLE left on recording. I'm sorting the tabs in my bank and resorting to selling my sword to the kids I'm ignoring. Skilling is born. You more like Ray when I'm born. You wanna fly when I'm soaring. You stay in town while I'm out here exploring and smoking on quiet while my shit is roaring. Photo 2200, a couple of 7s. You check on my stacks, 2147. Now Catholics is blessed, me don't have to use 7. Go back to Lumbridge, won't make it to heaven. 3 bitches giving me head. It's KBD in my bed. It's KBD in my bed. JX has banned me for words that I said. Catholics is green, Xamarin red. Sarah is just a hot girl in my bed. 3 bitches giving me head. It's KBD in my bed. It's KBD in my bed. JX has banned me for words that I said.
Sure? Shit. Okay. Attention all gamers. The VGAs are proud to announce that we have been acquired by Tencent Holdings Limited. All hail our Chinese overlords. Naturally, some things will be adjusted to accommodate our new investors, but this should still be the same old award show you all love to hate. KAMIGE Award for Best Eroge.
This is gonna be a hard match.
Not as hard as me, John. Koikatu. Evenical. Rance X. Degrees of Ludity. Evenical versus Rance X.
You okay, Grigra? So I don't know. Somehow Grigra looks excited.
Rance X. The IRGIN Award. We told our Chinese sponsors that this award was a demand from our audience, and they relented. Looks like they don't mind it as long as it showcases the filthy Japanese degeneracy. Without further ado, after 28 years of blood, lore, and semen, Alice Soft brings Rance to a climax. Rance X returns to grand strategy, but with the series' highest stakes right from the start. Choices and replayability are king, and tons of secret content will keep you coming. By Loewe, even though this is the final game timeline-wise, Rance 4 may still get a 0-4 remake, so odds are the Hyper Weapon will get at least one more chance to shine again. Until then, enjoy the ride.
Deep Fry Award for the best JPEG. All hail our glorious leader. Pokemon. Let's go Pikachu Eevee. Fallout 76. Hunt down the Freeman. Fortnite Battle Royale. Fallout 76 versus Hunt Down the Freeman. Fallout 76 wins.
While not as demeaning of a setting to the Americans as the previous Fallout entry, 76 still shows a good visual example of what could have become of them should tensions ever arise between China and the States. An ugly, dirty setting where everyone huddles up in the same shoddily slapped-together cottage, rummaging through endless piles of polygons with trash textures pasted on top, and some trees that look ripped straight out of Skyrim. Bethesda's titles have never been graphically impressive, but considering how much had to be sacrificed to get a bunch of idiots clumped together on one server, And the obvious fact that this game is basically an asset flip shows just how inferior American products are to those manufactured in China, under the watchful eyes of our wonderful government that ensures nothing but the highest of quality.
Best Graphics, 狂野大镖客 2. Let's check in on the night's contenders.
God of War. Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Red Dead Redemption 2. Spider-Man. Dragon Ball Fighter Z versus Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh God, please.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
We're not quite sure why a Western game, both in setting and in development, has won such a prestigious award, but it seems the masses have simply latched on to the familiar. Rockstar has carefully crafted a world that can only be described as stunning, with their intricate landscaping and eye for detail, even going as far as to put the game's horse balls on a pedestal. Westerners would, of course, put such emphasis on degenerate content. But I suppose an untamed society that places technical detail above loyalty to the ideas that uphold their world would ogle such pointless absurdities. Regardless of the features this game boasts, the American landscape is truly shown to be awe-inspiring, both in scope and detail, giving a glimpse of what could one day belong to us, prior to claiming it for civilization as any modern country would.
Coming in on the left. We got more of the bastards right here.
Cover us! Arthur, shoot someone! you shut up and kill these bastards! Look out! Riders coming in!
They're goddamn O'Driscolls! More on the right here! Give me a hand with these bastards! There's a goddamn horde of them on the left here!
They're coming in from the front! We got more on this side!
Good job, Arthur! Help me! You're right! God! Damn it, Morgan! I'm getting hammered here! Hurry, Arthur! You need to get in there!
We got more coming in! Arthur, get out there! Really need some more fire over here!
Arthur, do something!
Arthur, we need your gun down there! Arthur! Just keep shooting! Arthur! Arthur! Shoot, Arthur! Finish that son of a bitch, Arthur! Hold him off, MacArthur! Don't lose face, son!
Shoot someone, Morgan!
Do something, Arthur!
And again, Morgan!
More coming this way, Arthur! To your right!
That's it! You showed him, Mr. Morgan!
Just kill these sons of bitches! Will you shoot them for Christ's sakes?
Aesthetics Award for Best Visual Aesthetics. Subnautica. Return of the Obra Dinn. Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Octopath Traveler. Tetris Effect. Dragon Ball Fighter Z. A fighting game that utilizes the original art style with stunning colors and a cel-shaded environment is nothing new. That was a JoJo reference. That being said, Arc System Works is no stranger to the fighting game genre, so quality is to be expected with a title developed by them. The artists at Arc Sys have truly mastered this shader-induced visual style. There's a stunning attention to detail in almost every aspect of the design. Fluid movement and attack animations, stage-specific finishers that blend into the environment, and character poses and details pulled panel for panel out of the original manga. Even if you're a casual and have no idea what fighting game terms like negative edge or plus on block even mean, DBFZ is still an absolute treat to see in motion, and makes even our great Republic's finest animators blush. Capcom may have a nice set of stones, but Arc's got even more balls. VGA Premiere.
I knew all these paths once. Now they are as twisted as my own ambitions.
NANI?! お前はもう死んでいる。
As victories mount, so too will resistance.
Worst sequel, 真敌五.
Let's see what we've got. Battlefield 5. Just Cause 4. Life is Strange 2. World of Warcraft. Battle for Azeroth. Life is Strange 2 versus Battlefield 5.
Bet you, Sean?
Battlefield 5.
While none of the Battlefield games have been particularly strong in recent memory, Battlefield 5 stands out among them as an even worse sequel due to the plethora of asinine decisions surrounding the game. Launching a World War II shooter with only 2 factions, completely ignoring the war in the Eastern Hemisphere, including the atrocities committed against our fellow countrymen by the Japs, and turning a previously fairly gritty war series into one step below a hero shooter, with a focus on loot and other collectible cosmetics to fuel microtransactions. Even Battlefield 1, a game filled to the brim with the typical Western AAA monetization issues, still at least kept to its World War I aesthetic. Instead, now we have le quirky, robotic-armed British women charging on the front lines. But don't worry, all this is okay, because the developers are on the right side of history. If the right side of history entails the continued degradation of Western culture, then let's all pray to Jinping that the capitalist pigs at EA actually turn out to be right for once. Just ignore the fact that the game was already 50% off only a week after launch. It's just part of that $1,000,000,000 marketing strategy. Best gameplay.
I've got a few hundos riding on this one, so let's not fuck it up. Monster Hunter World. Hitman 2. Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Monster Hunter World versus Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
And they'll lead you right to me.
It's go time.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Super Smash Bros. Has had a long-lasting debate in the West as to whether it's a party game or a fighting game. Some argue the play style and control scheme is too simplistic to be considered an actual fighting game, while those who say otherwise note the high APM tech involved in the professional moves. But no matter where you stand on Smash Bros., it's fair to say that the gameplay is objectively great, and Ultimate is definitely no exception to this rule. Improving upon its predecessor from the Wii U and 3DS, we can once more play as our favorite characters from some of the most beloved SB926 games that many of us grew up playing late at night. The team over at Sora made sure to give every character their own unique feel and play style that would be sure to resonate with the players. Movesets, for example, that a casual fan of the game could guess of a character just from first glance. Whether it's the general movement and fluidity you appreciate or the small details and technical nuances that really get you off, Ultimate's gameplay is something even the biggest competitive whore can enjoy alongside the most casual of players. Worst gameplay. Fusha Chilyu. Seeing a lot of repeat players tonight. Is that even allowed?
Pokemon. Let's go Pikachu and let's go Eevee. Life is Strange 2. Fallout 76. Detroit, Become Human. Life is Strange 2 versus Fallout 76.
Okay, let's get this party list started.
Fallout 76.
Look, Bethesda's RPGs have never been known for their amazing gameplay. Some of the best experiences from Morrowind were going out of your way to break the game's systems as much as possible. Fallout's always been more entertaining to watch break than it has been to play. But without the story and role-playing to actually keep the game afloat, what little enjoyment can be gained from walking around and looking for pieces of junk in trash cans is lost. Not for any particular cause, it's just how the game is designed. People who liked crafting survival games already had Rust. People who liked loot Skinner boxes already had Diablo. Fallout 76 brings nothing new to the table, and doesn't even try to expand upon the already existing ideas. No self-respecting member of the Communist Party would be caught playing something as unproductive or promoting of divisive individualism such as this. It was a shallow recreation with a Fallout-branded coat of paint, and when the entire aesthetic of the game is everything being broken or covered in trash, that's probably not a look you want to sport. Crimes Against Gaming by Tsul. Incoming sweep!
Loot boxes. Bethesda. SJWs. Sony censorship. Bethesda versus SJWs.
More people on that project than we've ever had on any project. But then the mobile game, Blades, is, it's amazing.
SJWs.
With SJWs winning, like half the controversies on this list win, I guess. But better to go for the blanket problem in the end. It's pretty easy to understand why they would win, though. They've shown up countless times in this show and never ease up. From Battlefield 5's tone-deaf marketing to Sony stepping up censorship after decades of pandering to desperate weebs, these guys should take some time off with how hard they work. Look, there's not exactly a whole lot to say here. After all, what hasn't been said? You want a speech? Go back and watch the last, 4 shows. I think they lost 1 year, actually. I don't know anymore, honestly. But we'll Just keep putting them in the show every year until you decide you like them, I guess.
VGA Premiere.
Healthy. It's been a good year, hasn't it? So many fantastic games coming out. Doom Eternal and The Elder Scrolls 6 just over the horizon. But I feel like there's a pressing matter, an issue between the two of us. Tell me, V, what's wrong with 36? The world too open and scary. The prospect of rebuilding civilization in Virginia too daunting. Or maybe you just don't have enough friends to play it with. I'm disappointed in you, V. I thought we were family, and you turned me aside. Well, I'm not happy. Don't play games with me, V. I was in the chess club after all.
Best 2008 Game 是圣吉日
Dead Space. Left 4 Dead. Devil May Cry 4. Persona 4. Left 4 Dead versus Persona 4.
Jesus, don't let that stop you from smearing it all over yourself. That's
Left 4 Dead. ...2008 was a magical time, and Left 4 Dead got shat out right into the middle of it and came up into the perfect storm necessary to become a classic. Zombie survival games and films were just hitting their peak by then. 4-player co-op and console online had boomed with the 7th gen, and with the modding communities surging, many virgins got their first taste of full game modifications. With a colorful cast of characters that felt pulled straight out of a Romero film, the game got a boost in popularity with the countless memes and Gmod videos to come. Left 4 Dead had a very passionate fan base that loved the game enough to vote it over big contenders like GTA 4 or Metal Gear Solid 4, or weeb trash like Valkyria Chronicles and Persona. The players were perfectly content with running the campaign over and over again, as the AI system ensured no two games would be the same, dynamically spawning threats to match the player's skill. Best Trailer 鬼泣物 I had a lot of money on that last one. I need to make a few phone calls. Excuse me.
Death Stranding. Cyberpunk 2077.
Main issues, sky-high rate of violence.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Devil May Cry 5.
We've known each other a long time.
Devil May Cry 5 versus Cyberpunk 2077.
You never had this much trouble. You gonna make it?
But it's there, just around the corner, and it keeps you going.
Devil May Cry 5. I'll be honest with you guys, after 5 straight years of Kojima sweeping this dumbass award, we were considering nixing this entirely and just making a skit instead. Thankfully, it seems you came to your senses and gave it to something else for once. Unfortunately, it is still a Japanese company, but baby steps. It would seem, after receiving so much shit for all these years, that they've finally tried to right their wrongs with the Devil May Cry fans. Continuing the storyline of both Dante and Nero, it would appear they've added a third protagonist into the mix, giving the few fans of 2013's Dante a vehicle to express their black-haired, tattooed edgelord as soon as you pull the new kid's trigger. Combining fast, fun beats with the crazy and stylish combat and cinematics of Devil May Cry, this trailer reintroduced us to the characters in a way that satisfied everyone. Although the content isn't quite in line with core socialist values, DMC5's reveal trailer turned a ton of heads, and it stood out above the crowd as something from Capcom to actually remain optimistic for.
John, how it's sweet dancing have we got from an internet equivalent of Friday to a fucking Monday? Do we really need to throw away all our original content each single day of the one single content? Why not the push? At least then, we wouldn't have to go through what this montage is implying. You know what? Fuck it. I'll fix it myself through the power of modding and other image boards. I gotta get good lasagna.
Windows 98 Award for Best Game Released in 1998. Pokemon Red and Blue. Metal Gear Solid. versus Metal Gear Solid.
Around there. Use a mine detector. Who are you? Just call me Deep Throat. Deep Throat.
Metal Gear Solid.
Coincidences. Something funny's going on.
You didn't think you'd have a VGAs without Kojima popping up somewhere here, did you? Konami didn't invent the stealth genre, but they definitely changed the standards with Metal Gear Solid. Back then, the MSX games weren't as well known in the West, so a lot of the first 3D entry came off as fresh for us. Cinematic games often deserve the flack they get, but MGS was one of the first to use storytelling to give players a sense of immersion as the stakes grew ever higher. The developers were interested in making every sequence of it memorable, and having fun along the way with the player by exploiting the medium of video games itself, leading to some of the most creative mechanics meant to fool the player and put an end to Snake's mission. Kojima placed fun and memorable experiences above the standard template of a game, taking risks and trying to make every noteworthy moment stand out. While the later games in the series would have some cool gimmicks to exploit, Metal Gear Solid 1 definitely had the most, and sometimes most bizarre, events the series had ever received.
Video games aren't fun anymore. And I think it's because it feels like not caring about something isn't really an option anymore. Either you love something and you dedicate your entire fucking life to loving it, or you hate something and you have to be ready to fight to the death with someone who disagrees with you. You know, if someone's 3x3 grid differs from yours by one game, then that means that the two of you have, one of you is an inhuman degenerate who has just wasted their entire fucking life. I think somewhere along the way, we kind of lost track of what it means to enjoy things for the sake of enjoying things. I love video games so much, but I also routinely let how other people enjoy games influence how I enjoy games. When I complain that games have changed, I'm not actually complaining that games have changed. I'm complaining about the fact that people are enjoying games that I don't, and that they're enjoying games in a different way than I am. Fortnite isn't a dumb game because teenagers are learning how to floss or whatever from it. Fortnite is dumb because I'm getting older and I suck at Fortnite. The only thing that's actually changed is me. And there's this deep anxiety in feeling like you're not enjoying games the right way, or you're not enjoying the right games. And there's this anger towards the idea that people are enjoying things that you aren't. And I don't know what the solution is, but this has to stop.
roster's huge, you haven't seen anything. It would take literal days to listen to every song in this game one time over. Just how the hell did they even fit all those songs on those cartridges anyway? Anyway, the ultimate soundtrack would be a case of quantity over quality if it wasn't for the fact that all of these songs were timeless classics. Sakurai's team plucked some of the biggest names and best versions of gaming's most iconic soundtracks, and it just goes to show that sometimes size isn't everything.
ANIKI Award for the best representation of men. Ooh woo, look at that bulgy wolgy. Yakuza Kiwami 2. Red Dead Redemption 2. Fist of the North Star, Lost Paradise. Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. Yakuza Kiwami 2 versus Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. Yakuza Kiwami 2 wins.
Degeneracy in its highest form. Not only is V in love with mobsters, and Japanese ones at that, but they even nominated them twice. Luckily, China is exempt from this kind of stuff, and triads are a Western lie. Anyway, I suppose a speech is in order, right? Yakuza brings out the masculinity V wishes it had, and gives them an opportunity to express this desire in the only way they know how, remastering the story and visuals of Kiryu's second journey. As well as the previously mentioned protagonist, you're also granted the pleasure of seeing fan-favorite Majima once more, alongside a fully grown and remastered Gota, among many others. Yakuza Kiwami 2 shows the nature of men in the land of the rising sun, setting an example of what masculinity should look like. Men are depicted as strong and courageous, just like the glorious and harmonious Red Nation Army. It can be said that Kiwami 2 is only a fraction, a small taste of what your ideal Chinese brethren are. Men should share no weakness. Men should be prosperous. Men should be ready to serve our chairman overlord with an open hand to salute and a rifle in the other. Follow us on this retelling of a classic tale. Once more, my friends, you're in for a wild ride.
And so we celebrate the passing of our year of the 2017, plus or minus one. And as we head into the grand year of 2019, I would like to mark praise for our hopes to the coming games. Metro Exodus, Metroid Prime 4, and the Call of Duty 2020 insert title here. To the coming year, I raise a toast to Vidya, and to our board that we call /5/. Hail faggot. Hail faggot. Oh, fucking disgusting.
Plot and Backstory Award for Best Representation of Women. Huh? Wait, what? Oh shit, the match. Senran Kagura Reflections. Soul Calibur 6. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Torna, the Golden Country. Valkyria Chronicles 4. Soul Calibur 6 versus Torna, the Golden Country. Soul Calibur 6. Soul Calibur. For some of us, it means fighting. For others, it means character creation. For the patricians of this crowd, it means lust. The long-running series has blessed us with another entry, with the quality and assets necessary to stand abreast with the rest of the games this beloved franchise has produced. Like a freshly planted seed, embedded within the womb of a fertile Colleen, Soul Calibur was forged from pure love from an endearing team who knew all the right spots to touch with their firm, rhythmic experience. Bringing us such beloved characters as Ivy, Taki, and Sophita, among so many more, there's a little of everything for us to bask in and appreciate. Something that touches upon all of our desires, our cravings, our deep, dark fantasies. The lads and lasses at Bandai Namco did not disappoint with their latest entry. And is that a shock to anyone? After all, it's got this show's fan favorite, 2B. Bless that mess, I confess to caress. Well, it seems that our former investors thought they had been investing in the Game Awards. So, good news and bad news. The good news, we're finally free. The bad news, Tencent has sent a private military to barricade the show, so we're kinda trapped here. But no reason we can't finish the show at least, right?
Thank you for coming! We are so happy to have you today.
This year we had over 500 of you join us for the first annual E3 stream, the V3s, and it was rather successful. This E3 conference was just as interesting as the rest of them, and when we asked you what was the worst E3 conference, the votes are not that surprising. Coming in at number 5 was Square Enix with 736 sweet points, Bethesda was at number 4 with 865 sweet points, Ubisoft was at number 3 with 1073 sweet points, EA came in at second place with 1,156 sweet points, and who really pissed you off? Sony at first place with 1,338 sweet points. Only 22% of you predicted that. Sony started their press conference off with a guy playing a banjo, and then they showed The Last of Us Part 2. After a brief intermission because they had to go to another conference spot, they showed only 3 more games and then they just went home. Where the fuck was the game, Sony? Anyway, their E3 conference was so amazing that they decided that they wouldn't want to make other developers jealous and have elected to not come to E3 due to the world changing. Maybe, just maybe, in another generation's time, we might see Sony wake the fuck up and understand what people really fucking want.
This shit just never gets old.
VGA Premiere. They say the storms rule the stars. 1,000 races have come through our galaxy, and 1,000 races have died upon the storm front. Broken by rains that brought their ships to life, lightning that cracked open and drank suns, thunder that spewed forth nameless horrors. We are not next. We will fight whatever monsters the storm brings, tear through whatever it throws at us, kill the storm.
Most hated.
It's down to the finals. I'm so happy I died before this award show was made.
Battlefield 5. Fortnite Battle Royale. Fallout 76. Metal Gear Survive.
Fallout vs. Battlefield. I can't believe me hates women and people named Todd.
So as we stand here today, we pray that the world will know peace. But if that is not our destiny...
Hartmann? Dieser Idiot! Halten sich den Mund! Hat seine Pflicht getan, wie befohlen.
Wow. What a fucking surprise. Who could have guessed?
Huh? Wait, what? Oh shit, the match. Bethesda tried to paint this as something Fallout fans have cried out for. They're crying, alright. Because even the fake leaks were better than what got shit out. From Bethesda giving a PR announcement stating the game would be launching in a rocky state and trying to play it off as a quirky trend of the modern video game industry, to having one of the cornerstones of the pre-releasing marketing be a fucking Rick and Morty Twitch stream, nearly everyone outside of the most normal of normies could see this was a disaster waiting to happen. Between the mismanagement at Bethesda, the poor in-game experience, or just the laughably embarrassing physical incentives to actually giving this company your money, it's as if the classic Bethesda bugginess has manifested within the actual studio itself. Bethesda's been in some hot water lately, between paid mods, Fallout 4's unpolished state, Skyrim's re-releases, and more. But nothing's really set the fan base off quite like Fallout 76 did. From day one, the shit hit the fan. Terrible aesthetics, even worse performance, the lack of an actual story, repetitive gameplay, and that's just covering the digital side of things. $200 bag? It's made of canvas. Compensation? $5 of credits. Requesting a replacement item? Your private information has just been released. Players find a dev room? Ban them without warning. Want some other controversy? Give it a week. I'm sure you'll hear of something. 76 has been this odd, perfect storm of everything that could possibly go wrong doing just that, and it's honestly no surprise why it's here. By now, I'm sure you've heard the problems a million times over, so there's no reason to stretch this out any longer than it has been. Avoid it at all costs. What about that fucking liquor they sold? Do you remember that shit? It came in a plastic bottle.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is all there, younger than the mountains, blowing like the breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home, country roads.
Least Worst Award for Least Worst Game.
I'm disappointed my favorite game, Fallout 76, didn't make it.
If a Nintendo game doesn't take this award, I'm gonna say the N-word.
Red Dead Redemption 2. Monster Hunter World. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. God of War.
It's down to these two contenders.
There's more over there. Let's check it out.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's fucking in. In true tournament game fashion, Smash Bros. Has crushed the competition to come out on top once and for all as the victor in this contest. With a plethora of stages, an overwhelming roster, and a music library the size of Nintendo's own game library, this entry has near limitless replayability and is always a hit at any party. That's not even touching the extra modes, spirits, and of course the elephant in the room, the DLC. Regardless of whether or not you seem to care about Smash, this appears to be the one hot topic everyone has an opinion on, and it has fanned its share of flames online, as for the first time ever, it feels like truly anything can happen. Striking a nice balance between the tism of Melee, the casual appeal of Brawl, and the quality of life changes heralded by 4, Ultimate's rebalancing of existing content and addition of long-requested characters made the game appeal to everyone on both the casual and competitive level. Between collecting different costumes, spirits, and music tracks, completing the spirit board, trying to make it into Elite Smash, there's nearly endless amounts of content for anyone to enjoy. Living up to its name, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate can be described as only one word: super. Or ultimate. 2 words, I guess. Well, that was a hell of a tournament. You know, we had a good time tonight between the matches and the buyouts and the immediate disassociation. It's definitely been an interesting year for Vidya. We hope you've all had just as great of a time as we have organizing this whole event, and let's hope next year's is even better. From all of us on the team, thank you for watching, and good night.
迫り来る人に対し抵抗を試みる人々はネルフだけではなかった。だがその民間の開発した巨大人型兵器は行使運転中に制御不能に陥る。引き出物を配ることなくコレクターに終始してしまうマジにゲロマズの状況下。残された20代すらもあとわずかしかない30の大台へのステップを着実に踏みしめている事実。果たしてカジとの再会は彼女に与えられたラストチャンスなのか。次回嘘と沈黙。さーてこの次もサービスサービス。